Hi, folks. Wait like 30 seconds. Hey, thank you for joining. Wait like 30 seconds. All right, we're gonna get started. So, happy Wednesday. I am Monique, the Community Health Coordinator here at Whitman-Walker Health. Pronouns are she, her, hers. And today we are talking about syphilis. So I've been running this series called STD Talk since the end of last year. We've talked about chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, trick, and today we are talking about syphilis. We're rounding it up. This is the end. I think I got like one more for you guys next week, and then we'll be on to something else. So before I start, of course, I got to say my spiel. So let me read it off for you. Whitman-Walker Health's Community Health Department has expanded its outreach efforts to the social media platform. That's you guys. We cover various topics about HIV, STI health practices, access to care, social determinant of health, and general public health interventions. The next series of outreach sessions will focus on the current pandemic, COVID-19, and ways to manage your sexual, personal, and mental health. The community health team is here to educate and support you. So, I think, as I've been saying for the last few weeks, we're a little bit tired of talking about COVID-19. Fact of the matter is we have to talk about it because it's not going anywhere, probably won't go anywhere for a while. But just to give you a break on that spiel, because I'm sure that you get it sometimes here at Real Talk or over on our main page, the Whitman-Walker Health page. So just want to give you a little break on Wednesdays and do our regular Real Talk programming, which happens to involve STIs and STDs. So again, like I said, today we'll be talking about syphilis to round out our STD Talk series. Syphilis is not one of the more common STIs like chlamydia, gonorrhea, or even trick, but it is one that we test here, that we test for here at Whitman-Walker Health. The testing method here is a blood draw, so you would have to draw blood as opposed to chlamydia and gonorrhea. We also test for, but that is urine-based and also swab-based. So syphilis is a blood draw. It is a bacterial infection, usually spread by sexual contact. The disease starts out as a painless sore, typically on the genitals, rectum, or mouth. And it's spread from person to person via skin or mucous membrane contact with the actual sore. So after the initial infection, the syphilis bacteria can remain inactive in the body for decades before it becoming active again. Also, like herpes, we talked about herpes last week, and I mentioned that same thing with herpes. Syphilis develops in stages, and symptoms vary with each stage. Stages may overlap, and symptoms don't always occur in the same order. You may be infected with syphilis without noticing any symptoms for years. This is why when I say y'all, I mean the general public. This is why folks have to get tested. We recommend getting tested every 3 months for STIs because you just never know. Like, look at everything that I just said to y'all within the last 30 to 45 seconds. Like, to me, that's scary as a health professional. So, like, get out there and get tested, y'all. Okay, so causes. The cause of syphilis is, like I mentioned a few seconds ago, bacteria. The most common way syphilis is spread is through contact with an infected person, with an infected person's sore through sexual activity. The bacteria enters the body through minor cuts or abrasions in the skin and mucous membrane. Syphilis is contagious during its primary, secondary, and sometimes the early latent period. Hey, thanks for joining. If you're just joining, we're talking about, we're doing our STD Talk series, and today we're talking about syphilis. So less commonly, syphilis may spread through direct contact, with an active lesion, such as during kissing. It can be also passed from mother to their babies during pregnancy or childbirth. So it's very, very important that you're also getting tested while you're pregnant. Syphilis can't be spread by using the toilet, bathtub, clothing, or eating utensils, or from doorknobs, swimming pools, or hot tubs. Once cured, syphilis doesn't return on its own. However, you can become reinfected if you come into contact with someone who has syphilis sores. Now we'll talk about the stages. So, primary syphilis. The first sign of syphilis is a small sore called a canker sore. It kind of looks like, if you've ever had like a sore on the inside of your cheek, and you like expose it in the mirror to see what it looks like, that's kind of what it looks like. I'm not saying that's syphilis if you currently have a sore right now, but you may want to go check. But that's what it looks like. It looks like a small sore called a canker sore. The sore appears at the spot where the bacteria entered your body. While most people infected with syphilis develop only one canker, some people develop several of them. The canker usually develops about 3 weeks after exposure. Many people who have syphilis don't notice the canker because it's usually painless. And it may be hidden within the vagina or the rectum, and the canker will heal on its own within 3 to 6 weeks. I just said that some people don't usually notice it because 1, it's painless, and 2, it may be hidden within the vagina or the rectum. That's why, as a person, regardless of what you ascribe to in terms of gender or non-binary, whatever, it's very, very important that you know your reproductive organs. If you gotta sit with yourself, take a mirror, look in front of you, look behind you, spread legs, spread cheeks, whatever, it's very important that you know what things look like on a regular, so that when things are not regular, you're like, oh, I have to go to the doctor, instead of being like, oh, well, maybe it'll go away. Let me just wait a few days, a few weeks, turn into months. Like, it's important to know what things look like normally, so that when something is abnormal, you can go get it situated. Okay, so secondary syphilis. Within a few weeks of the original canker sore healing, you may experience a rash that begins on your trunk. This part of your body is your trunk. So on your trunk, which will eventually cover your whole body, even the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. This rash is usually not itchy and may be accompanied with wart-like sores in your mouth. Let's see, I mentioned the mouth already. In your mouth or in the genital area. Some people also experience hair loss, muscle aches, a fever, a sore throat, and swollen lymph nodes. These signs and symptoms may disappear within a few weeks or repeatedly come and go for as long as a year. Okay, so after secondary syphilis, it is latent syphilis. If you aren't treated for syphilis, the disease moves to the secondary stage, to the hidden or latent stage when you have no symptoms. So the latent stage can last for years. I said way earlier in the beginning of the live that, folks can, the bacteria can remain in your body and be dormant for decades before becoming active. So yes, in the latent stage, it can last for years. Signs and symptoms may never return, or the disease may progress to the third or tertiary stage. So the third stage of syphilis, about 15 to 30% of people infected with syphilis who don't get treatment will develop complication known as tertiary syphilis. In the latent stage, the disease may damage the brain, the nerves, the eyes, the heart, the blood vessels, the liver, the bones, the joints. And these problems may occur many years after the original untreated infection. So it is very, 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 I cannot stress enough with all of these STIs. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, trich, herpes, syphilis. Like, it is very, very, very important that everyone is going out there to get tested. If you are having unprotected sex in any form or fashion, you need to be getting tested regularly, okay? I know that I said earlier, syphilis is not one of the more common. So a lot of places don't test for it, or don't test for it if you don't ask for it. So you should absolutely ask for it. It is one of the ones that we test for here at Whitman-Walker Health. And again, it is a blood draw, okay? It takes 2 seconds to draw your blood so you can know if you are positive or not for syphilis, all right? It takes 2 seconds. All right, so I just explained that the third stage of syphilis can damage the brain, nerves, eyes, heart, blood vessels, all of that. So now we go to neurosyphilis. At any stage, syphilis can spread and among other things, damage or cause damage to the brain and nervous system in the eye. See, and then all of that, like causing damage to all of those organs or the nervous system for some unprotected sex, or not getting tested after the unprotected sex. Like, why weigh the options, right? So, congenital syphilis. Babies born to women who have syphilis can become infected through the placenta or during birth. And that's with most STIs, same thing. Most newborns with congenital syphilis, have no symptoms, although some experience a rash on the palm of their hands and the sole of their feet. Later signs and symptoms may include deafness, teeth deformities, and saddle nose where the bridge of the nose collapses. However, babies born with syphilis can also be born too early, so preterm, or could also die in the womb before birth, or can die directly after birth. So, when to see a doctor. So without treatment, syphilis can lead to damage throughout the body that we just talked about. Syphilis also increases the risk of HIV infection. All of the STIs increase risks of HIV infection. Just to put that out there. And can cause problems during pregnancy, which we just talked about. Treatment can help prevent future damage, but can't repair or reverse the damage that's already occurred. Small bumps, I was just reading something. Sorry. So when to see a doctor. Call your doctor if you or your child is experiencing unusual discharge, sores, or rash, particularly if it occurs in the groin area. I just skipped over and told you about some complications. So if you have any of those complications, you should also call your doctor for that. Again, treatment can help prevent future damage, can't repair or reverse what's already happened. In the late stage, of syphilis, bumps can develop on the skin, bones, liver, and other organs, and they usually disappear after treatment with antibiotics. So I also mentioned that there will be some neurological problems with syphilis. So I'm actually about to name some for you. So syphilis can cause a number of problems in the nervous system, including headache, stroke, meningitis, hearing loss, visual problems, including blindness, dementia, loss of pain and temperature sensation, sexual dysfunction in men, bladder incontinence, cardiovascular problems, and these may include bulging or swelling of the aorta, the body's major artery, and other blood vessels. Syphilis may also damage heart valves. So just listening to myself tell you all these things, it's not worth not knowing your status. I understand, because of COVID, said I wasn't going to bring it up, but because of COVID, a lot of clinics and places, including a doctor's office, may have been closed, so you couldn't get out there to get tested. But restrictions have eased up, even though we're feels like we're back at square one, the beginning of 2020 right now. But restrictions have eased up where Whitman-Walker Health is open. There are a few other clinics that are open. Go and get tested, okay? I know a lot of sex happened during COVID, especially when we were locked down and nobody could go anywhere. Everything was closed. So what was there to do other than watch TV, Netflix and chill, which turns into sex? We already know. So now that things have relaxed, things are opening back up with safety measures in place. Please go out and get tested. So adults with sexually transmitted syphilis or other genital ulcers have an estimated 2 to 5-fold increase in risk, 2 to 5-fold increased risk of contracting HIV. A syphilis sore can bleed easily, providing an easy way for HIV to enter the bloodstream during sexual activity. Again, I mentioned 2 minutes ago, contracting any STI makes you susceptible to contracting HIV. What the STIs do, other than hearing loss, vision problems, dementia, that syphilis can do, it also breaks down your immune system. And every time you contract one, so like if you had chlamydia, you got it treated, but then you got it again, and you got it treated, and you got it again, or you never got it treated from the last time, every time that infection hits your immune system, it breaks it down even more. It makes it harder for it to do its natural job, which makes you more susceptible to contracting HIV. So, prevention. There is no vaccine for syphilis. So, to help prevent the spread of syphilis, you should, of course, number one thing, abstain from sex. But we know we're not doing that, or a lot of people are not doing that. There are some people who are abstaining. Shout outs and power to you. But we know that a lot of people are not doing that. So the next best thing to abstaining is to be in a monogamous relationship. Have one partner. If you are going to change your partner, you should absolutely, you and that new partner need to go get tested before you have sex, especially before you have unprotected sex. So other than abstaining or being monogamous, the only certain way to avoid syphilis is to avoid having sex, abstaining. The next best option is to have, I just said this, mutually monogamous sex in which both partners have only sex with each other and neither partner is infected. Of course, using condoms. Condoms reduce your risk of contracting syphilis and other STIs, but only if the condom covers the sores. So if the sore, say you have the canker sore, right? That is the first stage of syphilis. On the shaft of the penis, if the condom covers on the shaft where the sore is, it can reduce your risk of contracting it. Avoid recreational drugs. Misuse of alcohol and other drugs inhibits your judgment. We already know that. And leads to unsafe sexual, I don't want to say it leads all the time, can lead to unsafe sexual practices. And of course, if you are positive for syphilis, letting your partner know, partner notification, so that your partner can go and get treated. If tests show that you have syphilis, your sex partners, including current and any partners that you've had over the last 3 months to 1 year, need to be informed so they can get tested. So if you get tested and it turns out that you're positive for syphilis, any of your current partners or your partners from the last 3 months, over the last 3 months to way back to a year, so that's 12 months, need to be informed so they can get tested. Because remember, I said earlier, it can lay dormant for years and then become active again. They need to get tested if they're infected so they can get treatment, right? So that is all I have on syphilis. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them in the live, or once I post this live, and if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to drop them in the comments. I have some more housekeeping spiel to read off to you, even though I know I said in the beginning that we weren't talking about COVID. We kind of have to talk about COVID. So this time we're going to talk about the vaccine. So we know COVID-19 vaccine is available. Whitman-Walker Health has COVID-19 vaccines available. Everyone ages 12 and up are eligible to receive the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. I'm actually going to update that. Everyone 5 years old and up is eligible to receive the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Everyone ages 16 and up are eligible to receive any. So that's also Moderna and the Janssen. So any COVID vaccine that is available to you. So please reach out to us here at Whitman-Walker Health. We have Moderna. But we can also direct, if you prefer Pfizer or if you prefer the Johnson & Johnson, we can absolutely direct you to another clinic or another space, another pharmacy that has the Pfizer vaccine if that's what you prefer. But still, reach out to us here at 202-207-2480. Again, the number is 202-207-2480 to make an appointment or ask where you can go if you prefer Pfizer, because again, we have Moderna. For DC residents, you can find information on COVID-19 vaccine walk-up clinics, walk-up locations, and eligibility at vaccinate.dc.gov. That is a really, really great website. You can also find places to get booster shots on that website as well. If you're already fully vaccinated and you just need your booster, you can find information on the vaccinate.dc.gov website or by calling 1-855-363-0333. For Maryland residents, learn more about the Maryland vaccine distribution process and schedule a vaccination appointment at covidlink.maryland.gov or by calling 855-634-6829. For Virginia residents, same process. You'll be going to vaccinate.virginia.gov or calling 877-829-4682. If you haven't been vaccinated, just looking. If you haven't been vaccinated and you're looking for an appointment, say that over. 1, if you haven't been vaccinated and you're not looking for an appointment, please reconsider your decision. If you haven't been vaccinated and are looking for an appointment, again, feel free to hit us up at 202-207-2480. We can absolutely get you in for your first dose and your second dose, and if you are eligible for your booster. The vaccine has no long-term side effects, has received FDA approval, has been administered to over 200 million Americans without a hitch. I am one of them, and I'm still here, standing, still breathing. For your safety and the safety of your community, look for a vaccine site. If you don't, continue to follow the CDC guidelines for mask wearing, quarantining, social distancing, hand washing, and the like. And last but not least, remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Whitman-Walker Health. At Whitman-Walker, that's our Twitter handle. And checking our website for the most up-to-date information on our services and for more on COVID-19 resources in general, Whitman-Walker Health Services. And of course, follow us at Real Talk DC. Until next time, happy Wednesday.